Now, I wanted to ask you about something. I came across a interview with Rafiel Torre from jail, and the reason I wanted to bring this up to you is a lot of people I've seen comment on it after the fact didn't probably didn't know him as well as you did. They trained with him periodically or whatever, with the exception of Gerald Streben, obviously. But you worked with him in the Abu Dhabi Ag Combat. You were paying him for articles and stuff. Um, so I just wanted to kind of get your take on Tory and you know the interest in him still from this historical perspective, I guess.
Well, it's funny this name comes up now. I'm not interested at all, really, you know. I mean, one point somewhere in the past, we I did some work with Streven where he talked about the whole murder and the whole story there. Actually, Streven made available to us transcript, like actual recordings of his talks with police and interviews and stuff like that. And it was interesting stuff. I kind of feel bad for Streven because I think Streven, was a guy that kind of got mentally messed up after that and then was kind of never the same. Um, but he was a guy who was, a pretty interesting and good little fighter. Uh, Vittori is none of those things. You know, Torres was a reporter. You know, so why would you interview a reporter? It's like interviewing Eddie Goldman or something like that. It's like I don't know what's interesting about him. I guess if you're going to talk about the murder, then you've got kind of like that crime drama kind of um, beyond MMA kind of podcast that you can do, or whatever it is that you can do. If you could get Rafael to actually talk about that. But if you're going to just talk about MMA career, yeah, Rafael was a reporter, so he was present for some fights and he saw some stuff. Um, he said he was a black belt. That's been called into question pretty definitively. But being around fights, he can maybe recall fights or things like that. But he was a reporter. That's not really an interesting interview, I don't think.